When President Trump came up with the idea of turning Gaza into a Riviera of the Middle East, it caused quite a few diplomatic earthquakes around the world. Now, whether or not his ideas are even remotely realistic isn't the real issue. The real story here is the glaring triple standards that show up every time Israel and the Palestinians are mentioned. Let's think about this. When the Syrian civil war broke out in 2011, over 6.5 million people were forced to flee their homes in Syria. Countries like Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq, and Egypt opened their borders. Even Germany took in hundreds of thousands of refugees. No one screamed ethnic cleansing. People saw it for what it was, a humanitarian crisis that needed urgent help. Fast forward to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Almost 7 million Ukrainians were displaced. European countries, especially Germany, Poland, and the UK, welcomed them with open arms. Again, no outrage about displacement, just compassion and aid. But when it comes to Palestinians in Gaza, stuck in a war zone that's been devastated for well over a year by relentless conflict, suddenly the narrative flips. Any suggestion that they be allowed to leave, even temporarily, gets labeled as ethnic cleansing or forced displacement. So what happened to all that compassion and aid? Countries like Jordan, whose population is predominantly Palestinian, flat out refused to take them in. Egypt, which literally shares a border with Gaza and has plenty of space to help, shuts its doors. And Europe, which welcomed millions from Syria and Ukraine, won't extend that same offer to Palestinians. What's the difference? Simple: Israel's involvement. When Israel is part of the equation, the rules seem to mysteriously change. This is the triple standard. One rule for dictatorial states, one rule for democracies, and an entirely separate category for Israel. But let's talk about the Arab states for a moment. They've been vocal about Palestinian rights for decades, but their actions tell a different story. Instead of using their vast resources to offer support, they've kept Palestinians in refugee camps, often under harsh conditions, using them as political pawns in their fight against Israel's legitimacy. Meanwhile, Israel, tiny compared to the 20 Arab states, continues to absorb Jews from around the world without hesitation. It's simply mind-boggling. Now, Trump's ideas aren't perfect. No one says they are. But this conflict has been going on for a very long time. So maybe, just maybe, there's room for a new approach. I should just add that all those refugees from Syria and Ukraine were managed by the UN High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR. It's a UN body responsible for all refugees in the world, except for one group, the Palestinians. That distinction belongs to UNRWA, a group that has not successfully helped resettle one Palestinian refugee. Now, despite what they profess, it's hard to believe that the international community is really that concerned about the well-being of Palestinians when they seem to spend inordinate amounts of time and money and effort not on helping the Palestinians build better lives, but on condemning Israel instead.